Good evening.
Welcome to the broadcast.
Long time. We were here many years ago. How many years was that? 2020.
3 to 4 years ago, Prof, when we had the Pundit's Night program.
The Pundit Night.
It's good to see you.
Thank you.
And welcome back to TV47.
Thank you.
A quick one, Prof. How is the state of the nation in your view tonight, through your eyes?
The state of the nation is bad.
That is alarming, isn't it?
That's bad.
What makes it bad, Prof?
There is so much anger in this country. There's so much pain in this country that we need just a matchstick to put this country in flames. No country should ever allow itself to reach where we are.
And Prof, you talk of anger. Is this an anger in your view that is a genuine anger, or as some say, an inflated anger?
But the anger is genuine. The young boys and girls in the streets are not there for fun. They see no future. They are jobless. Some of them with the best education you could talk about, including PhD holders who are in the streets. These are people who thought there was future for them. They are not seeing it. Mm-hmm. They are seeing their parents languishing in poverty, and they can see themselves joining their parents in that sort of life. So this anger is real. The pain brought about by the high cost of living, the unbearable government taxes and levies. This is real. It's not hypothetical. It's not philosophical. It's real.
And these, Prof, are problems many would argue can be dated back to the previous regimes equally, isn't it? Is it a standout for this regime?
It really doesn't matter. When the rain catches with you, you don't go into history. You just get beaten by the rain. So it doesn't matter when it started. The people don't want explanations. The people want food on the table. The young men and women in the streets don't want explanation of when it started. They want jobs.
Prof, understandably, this regime came as a popular regime.
Correct.
On a hustler narrative, yes. A sweeping hustler narrative movement.
Yes.
2.5 years later, what has changed, Prof? Why the anger? Why the bitterness?
You see, it's like independence. Independence to African countries and other countries in the Southern Hemisphere, third world countries, came with a lot of promise and pomp and celebrations. And then there followed a period of disillusionment, because our leaders, the founding fathers, so they were called, engaged in primitive accumulation, looting of the resources, and not fulfilling the dreams that independence promised. The same with this. Ruto came to power on the promise of a new Kenya, a new beginning, a Kenya of hope for the young people, to deal with joblessness, to create an economic environment conducive to business, and therefore for investors to create jobs through investment. A promise of a wonderful Kenya. No sooner had he come in than he began to drive in the opposite direction.
Prof, in my preamble, I talked of young people who are a consequential voting bloc keeping the president sleepless nights.
Yes.
Is that an accurate diagnosis of how the situation is?
Yes.
Is the president sleepless?
Yeah, because one, they are many, they are intelligent, well-educated, well-organized. But people say no, in terms of them being a voting bloc, it will not matter for two reasons. One, that they never turn out to vote. They never even register. Two, Kenyan voters are first Luos before they are young or professors or anything else. They are first Kikuyus before they are engineers. That may be true yesterday, but doubtful today. So they can give him sleepless nights because any intelligent observer of the Kenyan scene can see the young people are fed up. They have gotten to a point where they have decided to take action themselves. They do not trust us. They have seen how we've been bending our back for people to ride, and the consequences, which they now bear because their parents were too submissive to question. They have refused. And they will carry that through 2027. Any politician listening to me today can take this to a good bank including the good ones in America, that they are the people who will decide the next election.
The Gen Z in reference
Yes.
today.
They will decide the next general election, and that is not all. With the Gen Z involved in the next election, you cannot steal their election.
Fair enough. Professor Herman Manyora is with me in studio making sense of the state of the nation. Time for us to take a short break here on the broadcast. We will be back with this discussion after this break. Stay with us. Coming up after the break, the national carrier Kenya Airways will have a strategic investor announcement by end of the year, just in time to cushion the airline from a potential profit hit from fleet grounding.
One day, while teaching an oral health care class, I saw a little boy who kept covering his mouth.
It turns out he had lost some of his teeth and he felt embarrassed.
Now, as a hygienist, a child's smile means everything to me. Every child has a right to smile, and a beautiful smile is a healthy smile, and nothing should ever get in the way of that.
Cheki na hiyo pilipili siko kwa roundabout kwa karibu tu. Wewe buda, nakwambia form itajipa leo. Nilikuwa nakwambiaje? Story ya HR lazima tushughulikie pesa leo.
Usikie HR sio shida. Shida ni accountant.
Cheki hii ndio form. Hii ndio agent. Itabidi tumechanguka nayo sahihi. Oya waiter, hiyo nyama itabidi mengoja.
Everything else can wait, but the KRA tax amnesty cannot, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to pay all outstanding principal debts for periods up to December 31st, 2023. Log on to iTax today. Deadline is 30th June 2025.
The machinations, the red tape, the hardball, the shame, the glory, the secrets, the covert, the overt, the good, the bad, the ugly, the wins, the losses, the squabbles, the treaties, the twists, the turns, the tenders, the contracts, the game, the drama, the spats, the dossiers, the scandals, the naked truth, even their clandestine meetings. Everything you ever wanted to know, now you'll know with a new, boldly reimagined and revamped Star. Grab a copy of the Star, because smart people read the Star.
Deal of the Week, brought to you by Naivas.
Coming live from the heart of Westlands, this is Naivas Baraka Express. And of course, Katikati Week already is, yes.
The Week was brought to you by Naivas.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. We are making sense of the state of the nation. With me, just a reminder of who is in studio is Professor Herman Manyora. Prof, earlier on we talked of whether the president has sleepless nights due to the Gen Z protests. There is a raging debate, a narrative taking shape of whether it is one term, two term. The president is confident that his track record will give him a second. Many are questioning that.
People are rarely re-elected because they are performed in their first term. Wonderful MPs have lost their seats after sterling performance to useless, reckless people. Even the president, it will be good for him to serve his people diligently. But to bank on that as a basis for re-election will be a little naive. It is the politics of the day that decide whether somebody is re-elected as an MP, a president, a governor. It's not always the delivery. Because Uhuru Kenyatta had delivered so much. But when the time came, many people, including those who had benefited tremendously from his leadership for 10 years, dismissed him and wrote him off. So the president cannot hope to be re-elected merely on the basis of hard work, good work. It's already doubtful whether that work is there. But even assuming it was there, that cannot be the basis.
And
it's
Prof,
the politics.
Prof, you say it is the politics of the day that will determine whether the president gets a second or doesn't get.
Correct.
And that politics of the day partly is he's making charm offensive to new territories.
Yes.
He's caught in Western region, he's caught in Nyanza region.
You could say something small about Nyanza, but not Western. Truth be told, many of these places across the country, people don't like the president. I hesitate to use stronger words, like hating him. But it doesn't mean he can't do something about it. But for now, that is the position. The Western you mentioned, I don't think the president can find any favor with the people. At all, absolutely.
And Prof, you say he can do something about that.
Yes, of course. This is politics.
You have been one of Kenya's leading political analysts across media outlets.
Thank you.
What can the president do to regain the confidence of the people he serves?
Maybe he'll need to pay me a bit so that I can give him.
Needless to say that, Prof.
Yes. You know, it is, first of all, I have advised the president on a number of occasions, using media platforms that I have, that first of all, stop talking. Because every time you talk, people don't believe what you are saying. You see? They make mockery of what you are saying. Stop talking, stop traveling across villages. Sit down in your office, sit down in Harambee House, sit down in State House, and work for the people of Kenya. Let them miss you for 6 months. Okay? And then let him do a few things that are touching the people of this country. That touch on the software, on the feeling of the people, on the cost of living. Forget about roads. You know, people will tell you we don't need roads. Forget about, oh, you are building houses. No. People are not happy with the housing levy. Imagine if you remove that. The sort of reception you'll get from workers. You do something to make the payslip look reasonable so that there is reason for working. Today it's becoming increasingly doubtful whether working makes any sense. Because you get 10 shillings, the government wants 6. So you wonder, why was I going to work?
Fair enough.
So there are a number of things he can do, but not the hardware. The hardware, the roads, what, building this, that doesn't touch people. You do things that touch people. But finally, the window is closing. Anything the president does after December, people will consider it to be just politics. He has to do it now and do it fast.
He has 2 years and few days to the next.
No, if you do very close to election, people think you want to hoodwink them. Remember, he made so many promises which he didn't fulfill. So if you begin doing things next year, people say, this guy is trying to woo us, he's tricking us. Whatever he gives, he will take back after he's re-elected.
Fair enough, Prof. And this raging debate is not just street talk, isn't it? The president recently at a function, I believe on Friday, said, and I quote, if it is Ruto must go, then tell me how you want me to go. What do you mean by Ruto must go? Look for a better plan and convince the people of Kenya. You cannot replace a plan you don't like with no plan. It seemingly is getting to him, is it?
First of all, the president is feeling the heat. If you listen to him and look at the body language, that tells you he's receiving the heat. He knows something is not right. He knows the people are not happy. How you go has been spelled out in the Constitution. So you don't need to be told. And about better plan, people don't care who takes over. I don't know where these advisors are. They should tell the president, when people want to get rid of you, they don't care the person taking over from you. Whether they dress well, they smell bad, or anything like that, whether they have a plan or no. All they focus on is removing you. For this time now, the people are focused on removing the president, not on who will replace him and what that person will be or what they bring on the table. If the president knows, once he knows that, he can begin having some chance.
And just to be fair, Prof, there is a constitutionally stipulated process in which a president can be removed from office.
Yes.
One of it, arguably, is not through demonstrations and occupying the State House, just to be fair, isn't it?
To be fair, they are all stipulated in the Constitution. But also to be fair and to be honest to ourselves and the truth to our Constitution,
Yes.
Article 1 states power belongs to the people. They may exercise that power directly or through the representative. The president is representative number one. So the people have donated their power to him. Do you know they can bring it back?
Fair enough. Fair enough, Prof. We have talked of the president. Let's talk of one of his deputies, now former deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, who is making what some have termed as irritatingly impactful forays to regions across the country. He has coined a political phrase of cousins and maji. How consequential, Prof, will Rigathi Gachagua be in the 2027 contest?
I think for now, Gashagua is undisputed. By the way, I last featured on
TV
with
for
him
7
here
panel
with
on
him.
him, the Madira lawmaker.
Yeah,
Fair.
and I remember telling him he will be the deputy president. Yes, he should come back and at least say thank you. He's the undisputed king of opposition politics. He has replaced Raila as the man to watch when you are talking about opposition politics. He's the most influential. He's the most powerful. He knows how to deliver pain and delivers it well.
To who, Prof? Who is he delivering that
Of
pain?
course, to Ruto. Yeah, he delivers pain and delivers it very well. You get it. As to whether he will proceed to run for president, that's another story. That's another conversation. And if he were to run, whether he will win, that's another conversation. But in terms of his abilities to scare and give the president sleepless nights, he's doing that very well.
But there are attempts, Prof, of painting him as a regional kingpin.
And who is Gashagua? The moment they were trying to isolate his people so that the rest of the country can be against the mountain people, he swung into cousins. Today or yesterday, I saw him swinging into Mashemegi.
Yes.
People we can marry. You know, the Kikuyus and the Maasai, traditionally, even through raiding. So if you hear a Kikuyu lady called Nyokafi, Nyokafi is from the word, Kikuyu word akafi, for the Maasai. So they did that, the Mashakis and so forth. And he's beating them at their game. They thought they would isolate the mountain people. He has gone to cousins, Makuzo, now Mashemegi. You don't know what next.
Prof, he has been in government for nearly 2 years himself, isn't it? There are credibility questions as to why he was silent for those 2 years.
Yes.
He will not have it as a ride on the pack.
People ask President William Ruto, why are you telling this and you are peacefully running government? In fact, most of it yourself in the first term. But he just answered with one short answer. I was not the president. So Gashagua was not the president.
But he had the opportunity to speak about what he's speaking about
But
now.
while you are there as deputy president, for you to remain there, you are not going to speak. You begin to speak when you are exiting and when you are out. That's fair. It's fair a deputy cannot speak when they are there. It's awkward even. But when you are now leaving, like Justin Muturi was now headed to the outside world from government, you could see him the way you're speaking. And now he's outside. You can see the way Muturi is speaking. Same applies to Gashagua. Same applies to Ruto.
Prof, is it the proverbial, the mouth has too much to talk when someone is in?
Sometimes, but sometimes just etiquette and protocol and good manners. You cannot be somebody's deputy and do certain things and behave in certain ways.
Okay.
So you'll have to exit. Or once you are sure you are leaving, now you open your mouth. But again, there are always potatoes within the mouth, I agree.
Prof, you talked of Rigathi replacing Raila Odinga as the leading political figure in the opposition.
Yes.
Raila has his former party members who are in cabinet now in what has been termed as a broad-based cabinet. Yes. What would he, in your view, be eyeing come 2027?
It's very difficult because he's the most formidable presidential candidate. And many people don't see that. But the dynamics of opposition politics would actually seem to dictate that he steps aside and supports one of the people. So the question will be who? I do not think in the interest of removing Ruto, he would be the presidential candidate. Yeah. But he was the most formidable. Other factors, if they were not considered, then he will be the man to run, perhaps deputized by Natembea.
And Prof, is it then a public secret that the deputy will come from ODM come 2027, as some say?
Whose deputy? Ruto's?
Ruto's deputy, yes.
There are two options Ruto has. One is Musalia Mudavadi, who's a Luya. Second could be Wanga or somebody like that from Luo Nyanza. Again, it will depend on the dynamics. Look, for example, supposing there is an agreement between Matiang'i and Kalonzo, they form a team. So Kalonzo is on the ticket, Matiang'i deputy. Where are you leaving the Luyas? At that time, Ruto will be very, if he is sharp, will give Mudavadi. You sweep the Luya votes. But if Eugene Wamalwa or Natembea are made running mate, my friend, you are wasting time giving Musalia Mudavadi. So it will be wiser to entrench. There's a word I'm looking for. I think to entrench what you already have.
And finally, Prof, because of the interest of time, former President Uhuru Kenyatta is very loud but very silent politically. His party is fronting a presidential candidate in the name of former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i as a presidential candidate.
That's true. Yes.
And does Matiang'i, in your view, stand a chance of being the sixth?
I think now he's on top of the top. If once you rule out Gashagua, you are left with Matiang'i. In fact, this is very interesting because if you ask the people from Mount Kenya, the name they will give you is Matiang'i. It was Kalonzo, Matiang'i, but now it's more or less settled on Matiang'i. If you go to Western, where I come from, the name people have is Matiang'i. So I think Matiang'i is top on the list of those who could succeed. So he stands a very good chance, but politics being what it is, it's not easy for him. The support from Uhuru Kenyatta has to be a lot more focused, a lot more open, a lot more firmer than his support for Raila Odinga. If Uhuru is going to support Matiang'i, it can't be in the manner he supported Raila Odinga. It has been a different way. Just be more direct.
All right, Prof, because of the interest of time, thank you very much for making time.
Happy to be here again.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Professor Herman Manyora was making sense of the state of the nation here on the country's leading television channel. Let's get to more news now.